Okay, good morning. Let's start for our discussion for the national security concerns and peace education. Let's start. So, this will be the objective of our lesson. Number one, to articulate the concept of national security and peace in the promotion of national development. Number two, to identify the values that must be developed and strengthened among students in the furtherance of the national security and peace building. Number three, to manifest concrete actions in forging the national security and peace in the country. To identify the importance of belonging to the National Service Reserve Corps after completing the NSTP course. Okay? So this will be the objectives that we will be tackling about today sa ating lesson. For our introduction, no, we are entering a new human era of human security wherein yung concept ng security natin nagbabago as the years go by, di ba? And it is changing dramatically. So, yung security natin, it will be interpreted as first is the security of the people, not just of territory. Okay? Number two, it is the security of the individuals, not just of nation, no? Hindi lang yung security ng country natin, but also the security of every individual, every one of us, no? Number three, it is the security through development, not through arms, okay? Security is a national concern that every Filipino must consider to ensure a peaceful existence of the state. Kailangan natin i-consider yan. Every Filipino, every one of us must consider this one, no, in order for us na masigurado natin yung peaceful existence ng ating bansa. So the National Security of the Philippines or the Commonwealth Act Number 1, also known as the National Defense Act, and it is original policy basis of the National Security Program of the Republic of the Philippines. No? In the 1987 Constitution mandates civilian control of the military and establishes the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and the President also heads the National Security Council, the policy-making and advisory body for the matters connected with the national defense. So, the President is the head of this one. Siya yung tagagawa ng decision as well as siya yung ina-advise whatever we will do sa ating national defense. Uh, these are the council, no, nakasama ng president, uh, together with the Vice President, AFP Chief of Staff, National Security Council Director, Executive Secretary, Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Secretary of National Defense, Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, Secretary of Justice, and Secretary of Labor and Employment. So these are the composition of the council, no, na connected sa ating National Security Council. Okay? Responsibility for national security was vested in Department of National Defense. So they are heading the national security, and their principal function, no, in 1991 were to defend the state against the internal and external threats. So later we will discuss about that through the Philippine National Police, which is the PNP, in order to maintain the law and the order. The Secretary of National Defense, by law, a civilian, was charged with advising the President on defense matter and developing defense policy. Okay? These are the seven fundamental elements that lie at the core of, therefore, further amplify our definition of national security. Okay, number one will be the social-political stability, wherein the government and the people must engage in building the nation. No, kailangan magkaroon ng unity for this. Number two, the territorial integrity. We must ensure the permanent inviolability of our national territory. Yung malesen natin yung pagkakaroon ng violence sa ating bansa. Number three is the economic solidarity and strength, which is magkaroon tayo ng solid na economy. No? Number four is the ecological balance, wherein mabalance natin, mag-conserve natin yung natural environment natin. Wherein para hindi tayo magka-problem for the supply, yung dumadami nga yung population mo, nasisira naman yung environment mo. Mahirap yun. Kailangan natin magkaroon ng ecological balance in order for us to survive. Because sabi nga natin sa ating lesson last time, di ba? Mawawala yung society if we lose our environment, di ba? National survival rests upon the effective conservation of our natural environment. We have to remember that. Number five is the cultural cohesiveness. Where in our lives we have different values, we have different beliefs. No, it is grounded on high moral and ethical standards, drawn from our heritage and embodying a Filipino standard. No, identify transcending religious and ethnic linguistic differences. So we have that. We must conserve that and we must respect each and every one. Number six, moral spiritual consensus. So we must be propelled by a national vision inspired and manifest in our words and deeds by patriotism, national pride, and the advancement of our national goals and objectives. Number seven, is the external peace, wherein we must pursue constructive, cordial relation with all nations and people. We must have a relation, of course, between other nation as well in order for us na makatulong sa isa't isa when in times of need, yung mga ganyan, di ba? Kaya ang Pilipinas nakikipagkaibigan din siya sa ibang bansa. After all, kailangan din naman natin yon rights for us. No? These national threats to the national security na hindi mawawala sa atin. No, may mga threats like uh, terror, terrorism, like poverty and environmental degradation. No, kaya na kailangan ma-address and ma-inform yung mga tao as well as yung government on how they will deal about this one. Okay? These are the types of threats na pwede nating makaharap. Number one is the rebellion or insurrection, a refusal of obedience and order. Kapag ang tao, kunwari, hindi na nila nagugustuhan yung nakaluklok sa government, diba? Nagkakaroon sila ng rebellion. Nagkakaroon sila ng, nire-refuse nila to obey the government. No? They were doing something na against sa order, sa batas na pinabatas dun sa lugar, yung mga ganyan. No? Number two is the terrorism. Ito, very familiar naman tayo dito. A systematic use of terror, especially by means of coercion. Ito, commonly nakikita natin yung mga violent acts. No? Like, nagkakaroon na ng mga bombing like that. No? Threatening like, lalagay kuno ng bomba sa isang building, ganyan. Basta magkakaroon ng fear yung mga tao, nakakapag-create ng fear sa mga tao, as well as kumukuha sila ng sympathy from the government, na mapansin sila yung terrorism sa atin, sa bansa natin, di ba? Marami na tayong na-experience ngayon. More on sa mga Mindanao, mga ganyan, nakikita natin yan. Diba? Number three, murder. No, as that defined in most countries is a law full killing of other human being with intent. No? May motive kung bakit niya papatayin. And generally, this state of mind distinguishes murder from other forms of homicide. Okay? Another threats will be kidnapping and serious illegal detention, the taking away of transportation of a person against the person's will, usually to hold the persons in false imprisonment, a confinement without a legal authority. This may be done for ransom or in furtherance of other crime or in connection with a child custody dispute. So, yung mga kidnapping, no? And illegal detention. Number five will be the hijacking or highway robbery. No? Madalas to makikita na natin sa mga matataong lugar like sa Manila, no? This crime, no, of taking or attempting to take something value by force and threat of force or by putting victim in fear. No, yung mga crime like this one. Number six, crimes involving destruction. It may apply either as a measurable degree of damage to and including a state beyond use or repair. It may indicate a state wherein such damage is occurring or continuing. Example for this one is the self-destructive behavior, pwedeng suicide, or pwedeng demolition. So, yun. No? Ano pa? Internal threats and external threats. So we will redefine this one. Internal threats, our national security is infused with four important dimensions. Internal threats to our national security make up this dimension. We are familiar with this MILF or the ASG or the Abu Sayyaf group. No, yung MILF, that will be the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, and the Abu Sayyaf group. So, the main internal threat arises from the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, no, which in open rebellion against the government has avowed objective of establishing an independent Islamic state in the southern Philippines. Hand in hand with the security is a threat from the Abu Sayyaf group, a small band of highly mobile terrorists with suspected links to international networks. So, nagkaroon, no, which is nakapag has avowed na magkaroon ng ma-establish yung independent Islamic state, the southern Philippines. No? Kasi naging threat yung uh, ASG sa uh, lalo na sa terrorism, even sa mga international work. Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, and the National Democratic Front, CPP, NPA, and NDF. So, whatever these three continues pose serious threat to national security. So, some of you, no, meron tayong balita tungkol this one. No? Mga sinasabi nilang mga NPA, mga ganyan. No? Actually, mas ano sa atin, mas familiar tayo dun sa word na NPA. These three groups, no, continuous pa din yung kanilang serious threat sa ating national security. Although presently weakened in comparison with their peak strength, no, from 1985 to 87, during the past 2 years, there has been an incipient decrease of underground activities in the urban areas, a slight upward trend in isolation terrorist act in the countryside. So, yung mga medyo nakakatakot na kapag sila yung nag-rain sa isang place, no? Nakakatakot. Most of this, nasa Mindanao, Visayas, ganyan. Actually, meron din daw sa Luzon, mga ganyan. So, I don't know yung goal nila. Pero, I hope someday magkaroon tayo ng talagang maging secure talaga yung country natin for this one. Organized crime. The challenges of illegal drugs in particular has grown into major threat to the national community, no? Yung illegal drugs naging napakalaking threat na sa ating bansa. No? Buti na lang in a way, no, nagkaroon tayo ng action for that nung si President Duterte yung naluklok as a president, no? Medyo na lessen. No? Of 42,979 barangays nationwide, about 12% were affected in varying degrees, di ba? Kung iisipin natin yung 12% na yun. The anti-drug campaign is a major cornerstone of the government's law and other drive involving the police and the LGUs and the private sector and focusing on the tripartite strategy of reducing drug supply and demand as well as the domestic and international cooperation. Okay? So, yung illegal drugs na parami na sa ating bansa. So, actually, tinakan nga natin yan last time sa ating drug education, no? About drug abuse. We know na most of na mga naka-detain sa mga correction or sa mga presinto ay mga drug user. So, grave incidents of poverty. It is also a serious threat to the national security, yung kahirapan. No, especially to the extent that it breeds and abets rebellion, crime, and dissidence, di ba? Most of the time, kaya yung tao nakakagawa siya ng mga crime because of poverty, because of kahirapan. Poverty incidents affect about one-third of the Filipino families nationwide. So, tingnan natin, di ba, napakarami pala. One-third of the Filipino families considered mahirap. Consequently, the distribution of wealth has been swayed in favor of the wealthy minority. Okay? So another one is the economic sabotage. Under this category are underground activities such as counterfeiting, money laundering, large-scale smuggling, interoceanic poaching, and commercial dumping. So, ito yung mga economic sabotage. Yung kung saan-saan ka na lang magtatapon ng mga basura para ma-dispose mo yung mga ginagamit mo sa care. Ito yung naging problem ng Boracay before. No? Because of that. Kaya nasira. Tatapon sila ng mga chemicals sa na hindi nila ma-dispose kung saan-saan. So, graft and corruption. Ito, isa sa mga pinakamalalang problem natin sa ating bansa, pagkakaroon ng corruption. It has become another threat to our national security by virtue of the huge scale which is saps public resources and it undermines the moral of the civil service and affect the delivery of the quality basic services. It has also become disincentive to investment. So, another one is the severe calamities, no? Na kunwari mga floods, no? Hoarding, and so on, which causes hunger, diseases, and deprivation. Yung mga ito, nagkakaroon din ng serious threat sa ating national security kasi na-eager yung mga tao to do something kasi nga nasalanta sila ng bagyo o kaya nalindol, yung mga ganyan. Over the past 10 years, disaster toll stand more than 13,000 lives lost and 179 billion worth of poverty destroyed. No? And the National Disaster Coordinating Center, or NDCC, ensure the government focus, coordinate, and systematic application of government and private manpower and resources to the task of disaster mitigation para mabawasan yung mga disaster and the community rehabilitation and reconstruction. Okay. So, persistent environment degradation. Ito naman, this poses a long-term security threat. No? The at attrition of forest and watershed, airland, pollution, so on, nakakapag-cause ng mga sakit, kamatayan, no? And the national productivity and well-being natin. Ito hindi mawala-walang threat. Wherein it is a long-term security threat, no, sa ating bansa. So, kailangan talaga magkaroon, ma-ensure natin yung ating environment. Kasi pag yan nawala, kawawa din naman tayo, di ba? Next one is the external threat. The growing uncertainties that lie in the regional and global make up the second dimension of our national security concern, even as threat of external aggression against our countries remain in the remote horizon. So, first one is the multilateral dispute over Spratly Island. So, ito, very familiar na tayo dito. This is a source of intermittent tension owing to the build-up structures believed to be military-oriented by some claimant country in the area. Yung pag-aagawan dito sa tinatawag nating Spratly Island. So, number 2 is the smuggling of firearms and contraband, illegal mitigation, and occasion movement of the foreign terrorists through the porous borders of our southwestern frontiers. No? Ito yung pag-smuggle, paglilipat ng mga baril or soon, no? Illegal migration, no? Mga bagay-bagay. No? Next one is the lingering effects of the a currency crisis affecting the countries within the Association of the Southeast Asian Nation or the ASEAN, wherein nagkakaroon ng regional anxieties, no, which tend to aggravate political instabilities and socio-economic dislocation involving the poorest people, di ba? Hindi naman yung mga mayayaman na naapektuhan kapag ganito, di ba? Yung mga nasa lower pa, ano na lang yung marireceive nila if patuloy na nagkakaroon ng currency crisis, no? Okay, next one is the serious economic disparity between rich and poor nation. This keeps the world in the state of instability and virtual on the brink of a war in many places. Local or regional shortage of fresh water, arable land, food, fisheries, and energy are already causing tension. No, nagkakaroon ng um, ano yun, disparity, nagkakaroon ng yung hinihiwalay yung mga tinatawag na rich and poor nation. Ethnic, religious, and cultural conflict. This pervades many regions and nations, including our own. It is constantly uh, exacerbated by mass poverty, limited access to resources, denial of human rights, lack of national uh, integration, and international issues. No? Example yan ng mga external threats. Number two is the natural disaster, environmental issues. No? Next one is the cybercrime. This is a growing global threat as experienced with computer viruses such as Melissa and Cybernoy. Sir Chernobyl, sorry, Chernobyl, Melissa, and Chernobyl, which have been attacked, isolated, and network information system through the internet and through softwares, carrier devices. No? Mga cybercrimes na tinatawag na nakakapag-hack. Part 2 is the understanding values of peace. So what is peace? Since war begins in the minds of men or women, it is in the minds of men and women that the defense of peace should be constructed. Okay? So peace, let's define peace. The concept of peace varies according to the people who give meaning to it, based on the work they do and the cultural context they come from. So some of these concepts are: number one is the peace is not just the absence of war; it is the wholeness of life, no? Where every people can live with dignity. Number two, the new name of peace is development. Sabi nga ni Pope Paul. Let's define peace, no, toward the holistic concept of peace and violence. So we have peace in here, the negative peace and the positive peace, no. Kakaroon ng cultural violence, social-cultural violence, and ecological violence, no, which cause. No, and for the negative peace, we have direct violence such as war, torture, child and woman abuse. Okay, these are the levels of peace. We have personal peace, interpersonal peace, intergroup social peace, global peace, and peace between humans and the earth and beyond. Okay? So personal peace, it is refers to the development of inner harmony or integration characterized by such qualities such as self-respect, self-confidence, and so on. Okay? Number two is the interpersonal peace naman. Wherein manifest, it is manifested by a relationship of an individual to another individual. No? These are the level of peace shown in terms of assertiveness, respect, concern for others, cooperation, open-mindedness, and humility. Okay? Next one, number two, it is for a group naman. Kanina, sa ating sarili, your peace sa ating sarili, and then the relationship with other people, yung peace doon. And then, intergroup social peace. It is addressing the issues that affect society na sa group naman of people. Um, Sabi niya dito, political and economic components. For example, it is addressing the issues of social injustice such as the land grabbing, forest degradation, water pollution, and other that have a social impact sa atin. Okay. Social responsibility, it is the awareness of one responsibility for the common welfare and the willingness as well as the readiness to work for it. And then interdependence, it is the awareness of the impact of the decision and action of the individual naman and the group on one another. And then the social justice, it is require an awareness and recognition of the civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights, especially of more marginalized sector of society and the willingness to promote and defend them. Okay, next one is the global peace. It is similar to the social and national level peace, pero ito naman, mas concern naman siya sa global impact. Kanina, for this is social society, impact sa society. So, what we will do, no, para magkaroon tayo ng global peace. Number one, of course, we must respect the environment. No. Number two, to have a unity and oneness of humankind. Letter C is the religious appreciation. Whatever you believe, you must, whatever you believe, whatever other people believe, you must respect that. Thirdly is the cultural appreciation. The recognition and presence of different cultures, such as the differences, give us opportunity to learn from one another. Di ba? Kapag may nalalaman tayong culture from other places, dapat hindi na tayo yung mga basher from that. Siguro, we have different beliefs, we have different culture, and we must respect that. And we must learn from them as well. Peace between humans and the earth and beyond. No? It is refers to the higher level of peace that characterized by the harmony of man with the nature and the supreme being, which is God. No? Yung magkakaroon natin ng peace between the humankind, the earth, and God, and to God. Challenging the war system through peace education. Ang war, it comes from the Frankish-German word "wera", which means confusion, discord, or strife. No? Possible causes of war is the lack of tolerance for differences in an emerging sources of conflict. No? Yung hindi pagkakaintindihan. Ano yung mga differences nito such as the nationality, clan membership, uh, ethnicity, and religious affiliation. Ito yung mga madalas na reason kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng war. Okay? Yung gusto nila magkaroon sila ng power again, more power than the other. An ideology is a set of beliefs which serve as a guide on how power should be allocated or how a society should function. Conflicts can also be caused by competition of resources, extreme abuse of human rights, desire of leaders to stay in power, yung mga ganyan, di ba? Narrow or extreme nationalism and sympathy for kin across border. Okay? Ano yung mga effects ng war? Most horrible effect of war is death, of course. Maraming mamamatay. WHO, the World Health Organization, in 2002, they reported that one person die every 100 seconds each day as a result of armed violence. Kita natin. The Penguin Atlas of War Peace indicates approximately 75% those killed in wars today are civilians and non-combatants. Hindi sila military, but they are just civilians. Other sources estimated civilians' death to even be higher as 90% of casualties. Okay? Next one is the National Service Reserve Corps and the National Youth Response to the clamor for the national security and peace. So this one, for this will be for the every student nakapag-complete ng NSTP, which is a requisite for graduation. Is stipulated for the graduation under the Republic Act of 9163, known as the NSTP, respectively known as the provision, which state as Section 11, the creation of the National Service Corps. There is hereby created a National Service Reserve Corps to be composed of the graduates of non-ROTC components. Member of this corps may be tapped by a state for literacy and civic welfare activities through the joint effort of DND, CHED, and PESTA. Okay? Mission natin is to provide a trained and motivated manpower pool that can be tapped by a state of civic welfare, literacy, and other similar endeavor in the service of the nation. So what is the function of those people? No. First, to assist the disaster preparedness mitigation and response and rehabilitation programs. Kaya nga tinuro na sa atin yon. No? Tinuro sa atin yan. Number two, to serve as an auxiliary to the Disaster Coordinating Council or DCC. Next one is to assist in the promotion of civic welfare activities, and then to assist in the implementation of literacy program, to assist in socio-economic development, and to assist in the environment protection, and to perform other similar endeavor. Okay? And are the 10 ways youth can make an impact. So, you are the youth that we are referring to. Kaya, these are the 10 ways para magkaroon tayo ng impact. No? First is to know your rights. Read up, get informed, and practice your right. No? The youth can maximize their right if they are well informed. O maximize natin yung karapatan natin if we know what are those. No? Number two, to learn about local issues. Hindi ka naman magiging chismosa. But in order for you to be concerned sa community that you were in, no? In order for you to do something about it, kung may magagawa lang naman. Ano ba yung concern ba na yon? It is affecting you or more people in your community? Mga ganyan, di ba? Because knowing the problem can lead to possible solution and the youth role in the grand scheme of things. Okay? Number three, you have to speak out. Don't be afraid to speak your mind either online through social media and offline gatherings and things. Be assertive and express your interest. Ito naman, of course, mas magkaroon naman tayo ng dito, ng isipin natin before natin. Yes, we have the right to speak, no? But of course, piliin natin yung mga words na sasabihin natin. Yung bang respect naman, pa rin naman tayo. Someone is bound to read and to listen to it. Yung ganon, di ba? Also, of course, we have to be responsible kung ano man yung post natin, kung ano man yung sasabihin natin. Also, you have to respect views of others regardless of it agrees you or disagrees you. No? Kailangan natin i-respect. It's okay to speak out, but you have to have that respect pa din when you speak out. Number four, network. Their strength in number, reach out to them and learn their efforts and initiative. It could pave way to bigger things for you. No? Number five, to spread the word. Talk to your friends and family about the concerns and issues you see as important, yung importante. No? Hindi naman tayo makipag-chismisan dito. Kailangan nating sabihin or i-inform yung iba about the things or yung mga concerns mo. You can provide a voice to unaddressed issues, educate and influence the people around us. Okay? Next one is to join campaigns. No? Be one with the people having the same vision and initiative as you. Create solutions. We have to create solutions, not problems, and take action that can be done in our community. Number seven, host a youth summit. So as much as possible, pwede naman. Learn and share your perspective and views with peers as well as decision makers. School and local organization can be of great support to you in trying to create a forum for the exchange of ideas. Bring together different communities and understand what you have in common as well as your differences in interests and perspective. Okay? Use your creativity. Use your passion for the acts and your hobbies into the productive action towards your ideals. Okay? Number nine is to join and create a youth organization. The local youth organization are great places to expand their knowledge, no, to become an active member of the society. Number 10, of course, you have to be an inspiration. You have to believe in yourself and follow your passion. Passionate youth will change the world. Okay? So if you have any question, you can chat your representative na lang. And i-address natin for our next meeting. And thank you for listening. Okay, so that will be our lesson for today. Thank you and God bless.